Mae,
Yes, I'm here. Talk to me.
we are here. Special episode, October. I'm gonna let Mae take over, do our top shelf for the night.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. So, as some of you may know, some of you may not know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You may see some of the purple ribbons around here and there, and it's basically celebrating survivors of domestic violence or relationships, and that can be physical, sexual, emotional, mental. There's so many ways that abuse happens between an interpersonal relationship. And we just wanted to take some time to honor that, talk about it, and open up the floor a little bit. So I have my friend Tasha here with me, a survivor. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to get into that and give you a second to give people a little snippet about it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Like what exactly?
I guess you can just tell us about being a mother. How many kids you have? Just like a brief synopsis.
So I am mom of 6 children. I have 4 girls, 2 boys, ranging from 25 to 7.
25.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't crack.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to God that I don't look like what I've been through. That part.
Yep.
You know. But with my kid's dad, it was important for me to keep a 2-parent household. That was my thing. I grew up watching the Cosby Show. And so I was fascinated with the mom, the dad, and the children. And at the time, I was being raised by my grandparents. So my view of family was distorted. You know, it just didn't look like what I felt like family should look like. It was supposed to be my mom, my dad, you know, my siblings. And that's not what it was for me. So it caused a really deep desire in me to want to give my own children that, you know. And so I eventually got out there, started dating, met my children's father, and we had our kids. And for me, the important thing was the family was the mom, the dad, and the kids. So no matter what was going on in the relationship, no matter the abuse, no matter the things that my children saw, in my mind, I was being the best parent, and I was giving them the best thing for them because they had their family, their mom, their dad, and their siblings. And it was in that I learned that family is what you make it. You know, and I had to learn to grow away and say that me by myself is good enough to be a family, long as their children are loved and they're cared for, or whatever.
So, I guess to give a little bit more insight without getting too personal, how long did the relationship because that's a long span of children. How long did the relationship last? And I guess was it toxic from the beginning, or was there a turning point? Like, because you know, there's the phases of the relationship. There is the honeymoon phase, you know, and then after the honeymoon phase, that's often like all right, let me see if I really like this. Let's try to build towards something. And around that time, you start to get the little red flags. Sometimes you kind of ignore them, and they start building up. And next thing you know, you got a whole pile of red flags, and you're drowning in them.
Yeah, it was 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah,
Wow.
15 years. My oldest child isn't his biologically. He was 1 when we started dating. But that's the only dad that he knows. So 15 years, and it started out beautifully. You know, we vibed. Our energy matched perfectly. 1 kid, we was good. 2 kids, we was all right. By 3 kids in, you know, we young and we realizing that, you know, we don't necessarily see parenting and life the same. You know, I was a lot more mature and kind of ready to, you know, let's be a family. Let's start talking about building some, you know, generational wealth. Let's grow up. And he wasn't ready to grow up, you know. And for me, it was, we got this family. So whether you're ready or not, here's where we at with it. And I fought, you know, to keep that family, you know. And I literally mean fought. So the abuse was kind of going both ways. You know, we fought each other. I fought several females, you know, during the process. And all the while, my children are growing up and watching that. You know, I have 4 daughters that were watching me roll around in the dirt, you know, and act crazy, you know, the whole nine, busting out windows, all of that, and seeing their dad being physical with me and bring other women around. And I know the focus is domestic violence, but we don't realize how we affect our children when we stay in those relationships and the damage that really is done to them in those relationships. And that ultimately was my way out, you know, my kids.
Thank you for sharing that. Like, that was powerful. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, I guess I just wanted, so you said over the span of 15 years, was it abusive, like the whole span of the 15 years?
After maybe like the first 3 years were good. And then after that, yeah, pretty much all the way up to the day I left.
Wow. And what was that, the day that you left, like, what was the final straw?
We had got into a physical altercation, and some family had came to get me and the kids, and they were removing us from the house from the situation. And I heard my son, who was my baby boy, he probably was like 9 or 10 at the time, and he was like, I ain't even gonna cry. I ain't even gonna cry because I'm used to this, so I ain't even gonna cry.
Wow.
And that's what set a light off in my head. And when I got in a quiet place and I thought about that, and I'm like, you know, he's strengthening himself to be able to accept this. You know, he's building himself to be able to deal with that. And I'm like, no way. This is not, you know, what I want for my children.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's important for people to hear. It has to be something inside of you that makes you want to leave that situation and not look back. It often takes a woman 7 tries, 7 solid whole efforts with everything she has in her times to leave a situation.
Is that accurate?
Yes, that's
Yes.
that's a
Those
fact.
are
I'm
the
sorry.
statistics.
That's
I
a
didn't know that.
statistic. I'm sorry.
7
That's a
times.
statistic. 7.
Huh.
Before they leave for good.
7 times before they leave for good. And I know it happens. Another statistic is 1 in 3 women in their lifetime will experience some type of domestic violence, some type of interpersonal partner. 1 in 5 women die from a partner. If a woman dying 9 times out of 10, it's her partner that did it. So the abuse against women it's prevalent, and it's kind of to me it's like an epidemic or something. Nobody talks about it. It's not that many resources. A lot of people I knew, for me, I didn't know I was in a toxic or domestic violence relationship. I personally thought I was just ride or dying.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
was with this boy
That
since I
part.
was 13. I just thought we was just going through the motions. You know what I'm
This
saying?
is what we supposed to do.
I thought this was what we were supposed to do. So when we got 18, he 19, the first time he knocked me down, I'm like, all right, I'll show you. You know what I'm saying? Now we tussling. Now I fight dudes too. You know what I'm saying? So just going through that, looking back, I was like, I can't even believe I went through that. And the stuff that I accepted in the name of trying to be somebody bottom woman or trying to be somebody, I don't know. The Bonnie today, Clyde, they call it Shrek and Fiona.
Yeah.
So, yes, you know.
Why do we got to fight? that is why do we as black women believe we have to fight to be loved? Why do I have to ride
Struggle
and
love.
die?
Struggle love.
Why?
Struggle love hurt.
And it's bad because that is historically what we believe and what we've seen growing up, that in order for me to be loved properly, I have to prove how much I can take from old boy.
I hear that a lot.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's very true. And ladies, I want to tell y'all, anybody that's listening to that is not true. They got us fucked up. That comes from the slave
Baby.
master mentality. That is not true. Love should not hurt on any day, in no form. If it's real, it's not going to hurt. I'm not saying people are perfect. But if it's real, you're not going to feel like you're controlled. You're not going to feel like you don't have a voice. You're not going to feel like you gotta live inside of a box if it's real, man. I know we be trying to keep our families together, but it's just so much. Your kids need to see you be whole more than they see you trying to stay in a situation where it's killing your soul.
And convincing yourself you're doing it for them. That's the sick part.
Now I have a question. Did it start off as verbal at first, and then gradually went to physical, or was it straight to physical?
It definitely was verbal. I am very boisterous. I come from a very long line of big mouth women. Yes, I call them big mouth because we loud and we gonna say what we want to say, and my tongue cuts like a knife, And so I definitely have put him in some precarious places.
Okay.
And it started from arguments, and then definitely got physical. Maybe starting with a shove or a slap.
Okay.
I know for me too. It never turns out physical. And I noticed, like, looking back, I used to try to push a person buttons. Like, once we went there, you showed me you can go there. Like, I was trying to get you there, like, every time. Like, that's the type of toxic stuff that it brings out when you let yourself go to that. Like, I'm trying to see how far we can go at this point. So it was just toxic all around for me that I don't want to subject my children to, or my nieces or nephews to anymore.
I think that goes back to that mindset too of like, kind of like us too as women kind of pushing men to a certain point. Never is it ever okay for them to get physical with us. But that mindset of, if I push him to a certain point and he gets angry about it, that means he cares. Like that means love. The more he responds, the more he reacts, the more we feel like, ooh, he loves me.
So if you don't react, you don't care.
Exactly. And then what's followed after that? Some bomb makeup sex. The bomb makeup sex keeps us. We cannot act.
That makeup sex.
We cannot act like the makeup sex is not a big chunk
It
of the apology, and that's part of the power and control wheel too.
Yeah.
That's a tactic,
baby.
That is
a tactic.
There's plenty of times.
That's a tactic. Buy me a bag. I forgive you for cheating. Tactic type thing. So. Toxic.
That's a big thing.
I feel like it's not that many people admitting that. Yes, the makeup says
if she allowed me to enter, then we good.
I'm back.
And then what happens next?
We
It
fight
start
again.
all the honeymoon.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like weird because it's a little bit of an incentive to like get into an argument with your partner, right? Because I know back in my toxic days, in my early college days, I did used to get into it with my boyfriend just for the makeup part because that was great. It was, in my experience though, I think it was like in some ways lacking some passion and some spark. And so when we would get into it and like fight and like then make up, like that was the spark, that was kind of missing. And that was very, very toxic now looking back at it. And I would just look forward to that makeup sex. And then we would just do it again and again and again. It was a never ending cycle.
And that is so relatable. And the crazy part I'm thinking about when you said that, we get addicted to that feeling, that dopamine rush, that adrenaline rushing. When we argue, when my adrenaline is rushing, I am physically aroused. That toxicity is physically arousing me. You choking me, I might get physically
why my crazy self want to be choked? Like, why I like you choking me?
Side note, love to be choked.
Okay, side
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yes.
Side note, and it started in my toxic days.
Why do I
know
like
it
to be
did.
choked?
So, but it's just the up down. It causes so much on your body later on that I feel like once you come out of this toxic situation and you really on the other side and trying to build yourself up, you realize the physical effects the toxic situation left on your body. Like that, your brain be looking for it once you gone. So you super heartbroken because you can't get high off of being toxic no more. You out here, you withdrawing. You're heartbroken and you withdrawing.
Don't even know how to accept.
Don't know how to accept.
If you, one of my first relationships after leaving, right? I couldn't deal with him because he didn't argue.
See?
It was like you a pushover, like you soft, and I can't. I have like no respect for you. You soft, I will dog you. I will literally dog you because he wouldn't raise his voice to me.
See?
I've gotten stuff like that before. I've gotten you soft because you don't hit me too.
Sit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to provoke them to,
learn
sick.
behavior.
I feel like us as women, we got to take accountability in that. Like, that's not okay. That's toxic. We got to heal that. We got to heal that. We got to show our babies that we got to find some other things to get off on.
So what can we do?
I think as far as what?
To show our children that this is not okay. Like what? Like in case. So what do you do when your daughters come to you and say, "I'm in an abusive relationship"?
Well, I definitely will hope that before they ever get to that point, I can educate them on the power and the control wheel, so they can know the signs to look out for, because it looks different in the black community than it does the white community. So I have a couple of, I'll just read through them really quickly. This is from the Amani Community Services. It's the power and control wheel for the African American community. And it's like a slice of the pie. So we'll put a picture up later. Coercion and threats. Uses of weapons, threats of murder, no contact orders, reporting them to DHS, snitching on Section 8, telling them that you letting somebody sell drugs out your house even though it's him selling drugs out your house. It's power and control, right? That's one of the ways. Intimidation. Posting on social media to try to embarrass her. Creating a look to make people fear her, calling her crazy, trying to make her look crazy. Breaking things. Strangulation. That's intimidation. Emotional abuse. Your partner not allowing you to get your hair and your nails done. Controlling your money. Talking negatively. You don't look good in that. That dress don't look right on you. Why? Go put that on. Disappearing. Putting you on do not disturb and blocking you for long periods of time. I know that. I know a lot of people that's toxic. Come on now. That's toxic, okay? Emotional abuse. Demeaning self-worth. I see why your ex beat you. Nobody wants you, etc. Come on now.
That's some hard shit to say to somebody.
Comparing her to past partners negatively. You just like her. You just like him. You crazy. You be nagging me. Come on now. Am I preaching to somebody? Y'all done heard these? Come on now. Isolation is the next one. Keeping her away from her family, her friends, her community, keeping him away from them. Not allowing her to call the police. Manipulating them as if they the victim when the police get there. Making her stay at home. If you go out with your girls, you a hoe. You should be at home with me. Come on now.
Making you have sex before you leave.
Okay.
You know, against your will.
Smelling your shit when you come back.
That's
smelling your shit when you come back.
That's abuse.
Wow. You feel me?
Is that abuse on our side too?
Yes.
I guess.
Spreading lies and gossip to create division between her and her family and friends. Keeping track of how long she's gone and where she can go. Using jealousy to justify the actions. The next one is minimizing, denying, and blaming. That's gaslighting. We all learning about gaslighting.
It took me a minute to know what gaslighting was.
Gaslighting. We ain't gonna get into gaslighting. Denying what they said, accusing her of hearing things. You ain't crazy. Your friend, they see me at the movies with that bitch. You gonna believe your friend, not me? Come on now. Come on now.
I was king of that. I ain't gonna hold you.
Blaming her for the abuse. You made me hit you.
Ooh, that's wild.
It's your fault.
Why do you have to make me angry like this?
It's your fault that I slept with your sister. Denying the abuse, not taking accountability for their own actions. I never had a father. That's why I ain't shit to you. My mama left me and sold me. My mama did this. Nobody loved me. I won't pay child support. So the next one goes into using the children. Asking the children details about her.
Man,
where your mama at? Who your mama be having over there?
That's the one.
Who your mama be doing? What your mama be doing? Your mama be doing this? You let me know everything that your mama doing. Training the children to be disrespectful for her. You can call your mama a bitch. You can call her. You can call them. Questioning them. Making the kids choose sides. Threatening them. Someone else is going to be their dad. Someone else is going to be their mom if you don't tell your mommy to take me back.
That's wild.
You know, they just don't manipulate the children either. It's really messed up when they got a couple dollars. You know, they might be hustling good or got a little money and they're manipulating your family.
That's coming up. That's the
next
next
one. When they go into your mom and she's snitching on you because when he come through, he gonna buy my cigarettes, my beer and stuff. You know, gonna drop some money off. So, I know where she at.
See?
You know?
See, that's so messed up. Privilege is the next one. Using their social status or title to create fear or loss or downgrade if she left. If you leave me, you ain't gonna be nobody. You got access to my money. You going back on welfare if you leave me. I took you out the gutter. You going back down if you leave me. Treating her like a servant. Making her do all of the household chores. That's important, too. Because anybody that love you going to work 50-50 for real. They're going to see how they can make your load lighter or something.
That's real.
They're going to see how they can come correct to lighten your load.
That's how I know if I like
That's how you know. A man that told me that they're going to figure out how they can make your life easier if they really like you, lady. No man is going to make you do everything. No man. If he really loves you.
While she making dinner, what can I do to help her? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let me hit these dishes.
You can set the table, please. Thank you. Okay. Timing her when she leaves, feel entitled to her property, choosing what she can wear, and using her physical appearance to downgrade her hierarchy. And then the last one is economic abuse. Beating her if she doesn't give you money, don't buy what you want, goes to her job and create a scene to try to get her fired. Oh, it was somebody at my job. Oh, anyway.
That's when they're talking about, you give me this $500, I'm going to turn it into $1,500. I'm going to turn it into $1,500. I got you, trust me.
Okay. Not allow, they said they don't allow her to work and pay for everything, so she got to depend on them. You got to stay in the house. A woman's not allowed to work. Taking her check and stealing her cash, manipulating her when it's time for tax time, like you just said, and lying about needing to pay something.
Invest in my dream. I'm trying to get out here.
Yes. Anytime somebody making threats to kill, false reports to authority, things like that. I hope that you learn something new if you didn't know. Because I feel like a lot of us are accepting a lot of these different things in relationships, thinking that they are part of love. And none of those things should you be seeing in a healthy relationship. None of them.
That's
at all.
I give you that.
At all.
The smelling your shit when you come home, that's spoke to.
Is that a trigger?
That's a trigger. Yeah, unzip your shit.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You said what?
Wow.
Unzip.
Done that?
No, they done that to me.
Oh, wow. See?
That was
Wow. Let me smell it. See? I can't.
Listen, women are abusive too.
Women are abusive too.
Women are very abusive too, and they have their ways. And there's men that are coming under physical abuse, and it's even messed up for y'all because y'all don't want to tell nobody. Y'all really don't want to speak out.
Because I know somebody in there.
I have a very close friend who called the police.
You know a
guy
that's in abuse. See, he getting
the police laughed at him.
Wow.
And pulled off like, what? Ha, you funny. So you really called us because she's whooping your ass.
Wow.
And they laughed.
Wow.
And see, he old school too, so he not gonna really. The only reason I know is because somebody else close to the, what I'm saying no.
Yeah. And I definitely think it's important to reach out. There's help for abusers. Contrary to belief, there's classes, there's support. They gotta want help for one. Who wants to admit that they're an abuser, right? Mm-hmm. Who wants to admit that they're toxic? It's kind of cute these days to be toxic, right? Nobody wants to admit that shit. So I don't know. There's definitely resources. I feel like that's important for people to know. There's shelters. There's therapists. If you reach out to me, I can connect you to some. I think it's definitely important to have a plan when you're trying to leave a toxic situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saving up your money, finessing them to see if you can get a couple of extra dollars to make an escape. Mm-hmm. So it's certain tactics and situations. It's not easy by any means, but it's possible.
It's definitely possible. But the first step, for anybody, in my opinion, is really loving yourself. When you really love yourself, and that's the biggest thing, to feel like you're worth it to yourself, and building that kind of courage and realizing that you're beautiful, even though, the trust that is broken when you stay in situations like that. You don't trust yourself, you don't trust your family, you don't trust your friends, and so it's like I'm questioning everything. I don't want to talk to nobody. Because I don't even understand why I know this messed up. Like, I'm going to work. I'm going to school. I'm still pushing for my degree, going to work with black eyes, And then I'm looking at the mirror, though, while I'm at work. Like, why would you let this happen to yourself, And still not leaving. Because I can love myself,
Yeah.
You can't love no one more than you love you. You can't pour from an empty cup.
I always say that. I love that term. But then I think about, like, because it's a lot of the times it's like learned behavior, right? And like you witness it maybe growing up with your mom and vice versa, and then so forth and so on with her mom. So like, if you don't love yourself, like, how do you begin to like get to that point where you love yourself, where you're not allowing someone to, beat on you and then impact the kids, and having that cycle continue with them seeing that?
That's why sisterhoods are very important. Mm-hmm. And I hate the way we as women, particularly black women, do each other. Because that's where you find it at. You find that strength in your sisters. Mm-hmm. You find that strength in your circle and with the other people that you are around to help build you and encourage you, that you can be vulnerable to, and instead of us tearing each other apart. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to get out of those situations without a circle. You have to have a network.
Yeah. You got to know somebody.
You have to have a network.
You got to know somebody.
Without a network, it's impossible.
And if that somebody is a phone number, a 800 number, 911, you cannot brave this world alone. We wasn't put on this planet to brave it alone. We wasn't put on this planet to suffer and take abuse and just die. Mm-hmm. So, you got to want something. If you don't want to live, then why you gonna sit yourself in this situation and just let this toxic situation kill you over time? Mm-hmm. If that's the case, if you want to die, do yourself a favor. But if you want to get out, you got to find that spark in yourself to want to love yourself and care about yourself. It's not easy. Loving myself? I had to look at the little girls' faces. I was pregnant in a shelter with Bella. She almost died every 3 months. I had so many complications with her. In the shelter with my 4-year-old, and I'm looking at her like, this is the lowest I will ever be. I promise, baby, we will never be here again. I promise you. I said, if I don't love myself, I love you. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to figure this the fuck out because we will never be here again. I'm not about to have my baby in this shelter. And thank God I didn't have to. I was able to call that number. I called that number myself. I was talking to my sister. Mm-hmm. My sister said, well, I know a homegirl. She just went to the shelter. She called this number. She was like, let me call her and see if she got a number. Let me see if I can find you one. So she came back with the number, and I called the number. Right. I called that number, and I was like, well, somebody gave me this number. They said that I was in an abusive relationship, but I don't really think that. I just need some help. And that's exactly what I told the lady. I'm like, I don't really think that. And she would start asking me questions. She like, well, has the person ever did this? And I was like, yeah. I don't know. Do they get mad? When did that start? I'm like, well, when was the first time they asking these questions? And I'm like, oh, shit. When was the last time he put his hands on me? A couple of days ago, I had to go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't shit. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, oh, well, they like, yeah, well, you are. We can get you here tonight. We can get you here tonight. Can you get here tonight? And it was on and popping from there.
That moment on.
It wasn't easy by any means. I didn't know which way was up, but it was getting in there and having a sisterhood with women that was in there. It was a couple of men in there too. Going through somebody. It's always somebody that's doing worse than you.
I swear.
It's always somebody that's worse than you. I was thanking God every day that me and my baby wasn't in the situation some of them women I met in the shelter. You know what I'm saying? So I got to talk to them, and some of them had been in that shelter. This was like their fourth rodeo. Mm-hmm. They knew what time the meals was coming. Mm-hmm. They knew when the good donations was coming. They knew all of that. You know what I'm saying? So this was a part of their thing. And slowly but surely, you ask around, you open your mouth, you tell your testimony, and God gonna send somebody to help you. I've been out that situation going on 5. Dang. Side note, I went in September. I got out October. We were in our new place for Halloween. This is actually, that was 2017. This is actually the anniversary. Nice. Wow, like the week. So that was 2017. You know, so this is the anniversary of that. And to be where I'm at today, thank you. 2 years on Tasha Afterdark, telling my testimony. I completed my associate's degree. Period. You feel me? I was pregnant.
Come through,
with
man.
Bella walking from the shelter to WCC. You feel me? Pregnant in my classes. You feel me? Threatening a miscarriage. Supposed to be on bed rest, but I was going to go finish my classes. You feel me? To be where I'm at right now, I got a good job. I can pay my own bills. I don't need a man for nothing. I don't need one. It's a powerful place to be. I want one, but I want the right one.
That's right.
I want the one that comes correct and whole, the one that don't hurt, the one that ain't got to treat me like shit first to appreciate me. And until then, I encourage every woman to just take that one step and leave. Do whatever you got to do.
Call me.
Reach out. Just take
available.
that step. God asking you to take that step. Just take that step, and you can be looking back like me like, wow, I never thought I'd be here today. I never thought I'd leave that man. I thought I was going to be with that man for my entire life. You couldn't tell me no different. So, to be where I'm at today, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. You feel me? But just to be able to look back, I'm blessed and I'm grateful.
Did it take you 7 times?
I can't even tell you how many times. I would say probably more than that. We broke up. Like, every time we broke up and got back together, I would count that as a time. Well, I was weak enough to go back. I would count that as a time. Yeah. We break up every a month, go back together. Go back together. So I would count all of that, and it was probably more than 7 times. That was my first everything. You feel me? So I don't even know that man now. I don't even know him. Like, if I was to see him, I wouldn't say shit to him. Like, but guess the devil always come back. The devil always come back when you leave, ladies. The devil gonna find a way to come back, but God keep making you stronger every time. Every day you away from your abuser, God make you stronger. So
I was crazy. I would get away for a good little period of time. Like, I'll get away. There were spurts where I was away from him for a year.
Oh, wow.
At one time there was, like a 2-year period, and would get swindled back, because life didn't go good for him when he wasn't with me, and he'll be doing bad, and he'll be struggling, and I'm feeling bad, and I got all these dang kids, so I'm like, shit, I got to help him help me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, fuck it, you do better with me, so let's go on here, try to work this out again so I can get some support with these kids.
Is there such thing as a right message, wrong messenger? Like, maybe a former guy that used to be, abusive or whatever the case may be, now he's speaking out against it. Is that something you will listen to or find valid, find authentic, or they shouldn't just speak on it?
We have 2 sons, and our baby boy, he's 19, and he goes to school at Eastern here, and to hear him talk to him now about, domestic violence and about the fights that we had and about, I look at him side-eyed personally. But I'm encouraged knowing that he's, recognized what he was doing and how wrong it was, and he's teaching his sons to do something different. So I appreciate it. I do still look at him side-eyed, though, like, nigga, please. But, but I appreciate the fact that he is teaching his son something different. Okay. On top of the fact that he just, slapped his other baby mom a couple days ago or whatever. So
that's what I was going to say.
They don't change.
Actually, doing the work and actually not engaging in that anymore, then I think that could be beneficial. Because you can always, learn from your mistakes. Those people, I think, give the best testimony. When you used to do something and you no longer do it, you can help people to figure out, okay, how to stop this behavior. But if you're still doing it, then it's pointless. Mm.
Yeah, I definitely
But it's cute, these little conversations,
Yeah. That's why I stay out of women's business. I'm like, all right.
It's possible to change, but abusers usually don't change. Mm-hmm. And I had to, that was something that I had to let marinate in my spirit while I was in the shelter. I had to get that engraved into my soul. People don't change unless they do the work. I'm here doing the work. I'm learning. Mm-hmm. I'm learning. That's doing the work. Just filling your mind with resources. Filling your mind with positive information. That's doing the work. I learned that this is not. I had to learn. I had to read to find out what love was and what love wasn't. Then I had to go and find the examples that I read about. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So doing the work, people don't typically change. That's how we get sucked back in. That's how we get sucked back in, thinking our abusers have changed, and they haven't really done the work.
Where do we as colored people, black people, where do we find good examples of healthy, good love and relationships right now, though? Where will we direct a person?
I was about to ask the same question.
Where do I send you if you want to see? If I can talk about it, but if I want you to see it, what examples? Where do we point them? What direction do we send them in?
It ain't nothing on TV, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you that.
It ain't nothing on positive and it ain't nothing on social media. Yeah. They exist though. Everybody know a couple that's been together for 25 years. Mm-hmm. Everybody know a couple that's been together for 30 years.
But does that
15,
mean that's a relationship?
Right, that part.
No, but I'm saying we all know couples that worked through some shit. Not saying that man ain't never put his hands on that woman, but he might have been going through a phase of depression and he grew out of that. I feel like we're not going to find out until we start having these grassroots conversations with each other. Like, man, I'm abusive to my woman right now. That was me back in my day, cuz. Let me tell you, you got to go find you a hobby, my brand. You got to go get your money up. You angry right now. You can't be taking it all on your woman.
That's what it is, too.
You feel me?
That's
y'all got to have those grassroots conversations.
A lot of that shit is because you broke, you're upset, you're angry. A lot of that
depression,
shit
you don't even know you're depressed.
A lot of it, yeah.
You don't even know what depression feels like in your body or anxiety feels like. You don't know the physical symptoms, you know? So shit like that, grassroots conversations, I feel like has to be had. Interpersonal conversations. We got to talk to each other, look up to each other.
I feel like the only couple we look at as a society is the Obamas.
Obamas.
That's it.
That's the one.
But look, I got another one for you.
Who?
Ice Cube and his wife. Mm-hmm. They've been together for years. True. You've never seen
Snoop
nothing
Dogg
in the media.
LeBron James and his wife.
LeBron James and
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And his wife.
Don't start.
All right.
Don't do that.
We used to look up to the Smiths, but
I was gonna say we used to
look up to them.
Yeah, no, I think that too. We don't really want perfection. Mm-hmm. We don't need perfection. No relationship is perfect.
What is that?
I want perseverance. Mm-hmm. I want to see like, how did y'all get through this? You married a woman that already had 3 kids. How did you do that? Like, how did y'all make it and be together? And you know what I'm saying? How did y'all find a
family thing?
How did y'all do that? Yeah. Like, those are the conversations that, how are you still remaining faithful? How did you get through your postpartum, sis? Those type of conversations. I don't know. I feel like there should be more positive platforms. Us as black people, I feel like we all can agree we don't control our narrative. We don't control the narrative.
No, we don't.
Of black people as a whole.
Nope.
There is no, like, other than the one they keep trying to push, this ratchet ass one.
You know what it is? We're too forgiving of a people.
Yeah.
And we're too open. We're too open. Like, come to our gates. Mm-hmm. Listen to our hip hop.
You can come to the barbecue. Let anybody come to the barbecue.
Listen to our jazz so you can take it. Listen to our hip hop so you can take it. Like,
is that not the craziest stuff ever, that we're so loving but don't know how to love each other? We love the mess out of everybody else.
Talk to them, sis.
And we do not know how to love each other. That's the craziest thing. And I feel like our generation, for those of us sitting here now and for the ones coming behind us, I feel like we got a hell of a job to do, because this is what our parents and grandparents didn't do. They did not bring these conversations to the forefront. It was just what happened in the family. You know, you had Uncle Tom, who was the family child molester. You had, Uncle so-and-so who beat his wife. You had the family alcoholic, and these people came around, and this is just what it was. Mm-hmm. But nobody said, guess what? No, this is not how it has to be. Mm-hmm. And that's our platform. This is our job, to start bringing that, and so we can change the narrative for our children, for the next generation, because what they're seeing, like, these little guys living whole lives. They're whole adults in high school, and whole physical relationships. They
grown.
Yeah. Grown. They don't even, what innocence?
Yeah.
And it's become normal. Mm-hmm. It's become normal because nobody speaks about it. We ain't talking about Uncle Tom. We ain't talking about the alcoholic. We ain't talking about the crackhead.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
And I know my abusive situation started in high school. So I can only imagine trying to stick with my one true love I thought I had. You know what I'm saying? So to have those, I'm just wondering, like, had I known about the power and control wheel as a teenager, like, could it have changed anything? I don't know, but all I can try to do is make sure that my kids know, you know what I'm saying, make sure they try to, and then try to see if, I don't know, embody that in myself.
That's a dope resource, because that sounds like us. It's a lot of information out there, but that information doesn't pertain to us, and it don't fit our narrative, because that's not our life. Mm-hmm. Yep. But that will makes it more real, because that's the stuff we hear. That's, how our homes and our neighborhoods work and engage. Like, a lot of information is there, but it don't reach us because it's not what we live.
Yeah, and I think it's important seeing it on the wheel with the title of that being like, okay, this is abuse, yes. Right? This is abuse, and this is how it looks in the Black community. Because even like when you were sharing your story about like when they were doing the screening for you to be in the shelter, they were asking you questions, things that are on that wheel, and you didn't think anything of it. Like, these are things you experienced, but you didn't know, like, oh, this is abuse. So I think it's important to have that there on the wheel saying, like, this is abusive.
And I was going to say, after you leave, if you find yourself on the other side of the abusive situation, you got to do the work to heal your mind. Because I'm learning my nerves was fried. I have so much anxiety after leaving that situation. I had to know, like, why am I so tight? Why my muscles so tight? Why I got a crook in my neck? Why I keep waking up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep at night? You know what I'm saying? That was anxiety and physical feelings that I had to go and get a therapist, talk to multiple people out, keep trying different therapists, trying this, trying that.
That was going to be my question, like, for both of you. Because I know, like, when you're in a shelter, they give you those resources while you're there, and they help you continue it when you're done. But I was wondering, for both of you, did you consistently seek therapy after that experience?
I definitely had to, starting with the therapy that I got because of the domestic violence just opened up bigger doors. You know, and brought more stuff to the forefront. Because when you start having those discussions and you really start digging deep and getting in and pulling them layers back, baby, yeah, you need some extensive therapy because it's so much more underlining under that. You pull them scabs away. Yeah, you got to be ready to go in deep. You know, I even became abusive. For a moment. I was the abuser.
Wow.
And for me, it was more defensively, though, because if you raised your voice at me, you know, if you raised your hand at me a certain way, I'm going to get you before you get me. And it was like, wait, you know, that hurt. You know, especially with somebody that I really cared about who really was trying to be there for me. And that hurt because I didn't know how to control that reaction. You know, it was just reactionary.
How long did it take you to realize you was doing that?
Like that I was being abusive?
Yeah.
It was probably a year into the relationship, and he actually brought it to my attention, like, do you realize how aggressive you are with me? Like, do you realize, like, how quick you, and then even my children, you know, one particular incident, you know, he kind of jumped up, you know, we were arguing, and he kind of jumped up to, like, stop. But my daughter was behind him, and he caught a two-piece quick. I done swung in the front, she done swung in the back.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he looking like, wait, what is going on? Like, why are y'all attacking me? But it was like, before you put your hands on my mama, and I'm like, before you put your hands on me, you about to catch it. We taking you down through there, bro.
Triggered. I think that's been the hardest part for me. Realizing all my triggers from being in a relationship for so long, I didn't know. Like, you come out this feeling thinking everybody is your enemy. You can't trust another person. So when you said therapist, it's been 5 years this week. So I've had 3 different therapists during that time. One, I feel like therapists are like doctors. You got to keep trying until you find one that's a good fit. You know, the first lady I had, she was white. We was on some spiritual, I found out I was an INFJ, like we was on that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But not really a good fit as far as relating to me because she couldn't understand my story as a black woman. The next therapist I had was during COVID and it was virtual, you feel me? And she was a mixed lady, so we was getting there. Then my most recent therapist, a full black woman, LBGT friendly, you know what I'm saying, close to my house. I really like her, you know what I'm saying? So now I got somebody that I can be vulnerable with. But I had to get myself to the point where I had good insurance because that Medicaid therapist and the other therapist, it be some different sometimes. You know, the insurance to cover it. You feel me? A better quality. That private therapist versus the public, it's a difference sometimes. We're not going to act like it's not. So I would say take advantage of that if you have the private insurance. Keep rolling that dice because it's your mental health that matters. But yeah, finding out my triggers and working through that and my nerves, that part was the biggest part. But now where I'm at 5 years later is still trying to figure out who is Mae by herself. Not in nobody else's shadow. Not Mae in relationship. Mae is such and such girl. I'm no longer Mrs. such and such. You know what I'm saying? Who am I by myself? And I feel like I'm in a powerful and beautiful place to be. It's a journey that I'm looking forward to keep taking every day? I don't know. I couldn't tell you 5 years ago when I was pregnant and threatening miscarriage every other month. You know, I couldn't tell you that I'd be here wondering like, dang, girl, look at you. What's next? Let's start this business. Let's get this beard all off the ground so the proceeds can go back to the domestic violence shelter. Let's do that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I just hope that I could encourage somebody to get out that situation. Make a call, take a step, reach out, open your mouth.
Yeah.
I think it's dope having Tatiana over here being a clinical therapist.
I'm just
And
pouring
listen,
all my life.
beautiful brown clinical therapist up in this thing. Hello.
Yes.
I think that's
heal.
dope. I
Helping us
appreciate
heal,
you.
yes.
Thank you so much for your service.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Because we need so much more than that. It's hard to relate to somebody who doesn't look like me and who doesn't know what I've been through or where I've been, you know?
Representation is so important.
It is.
Especially for the young kids, like growing up. Like you don't see, well, now it's getting better, but even if we look at in the schools, like how many black teachers are there, you know what I'm saying? And then even the subject of therapy was such a taboo in our community for so long, and it still is. It still is, but I think people are coming around more to the importance of mental health, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think along with that movement, we have to have more representation. We have to have black female therapists as well as black male therapists.
Yes.
I was going to say, I find all my therapists on therapyforblackgirls.com. That's where I start every time I want to look for one. And I was going to say one more thing about therapy that I'm doing right now. I went consistently, but now I call myself in my doing phase. I'm literally trying to actively put into work all the things and the tools and the resources that I learned into therapy, taking a break before I go back and be like, hey. So doing the work.
Yeah, because like therapy, especially like I'm a psychotherapist, and that's just a fancy way of saying talk therapist. Like we talk through things. I mean, I specialize in CBT and all those things too, but at the end of the day, it's great to be able to have someone to confide in and feel like it's a safe space, and it's great to be able to talk through things. But you also have to do the work outside of that hour that you get with your therapist. I give all my clients homework at the end of our sessions. And it's not anything too strenuous. It might be something like, okay, if we're discussing a tough topic for that week, it'll be like, okay, I want you to just do 20 minutes of free writing in your journal tonight and just see what comes out, you know, or, you know, make that phone call you've been waiting to make. Write a letter to the person who harmed you, not to send it, just to get the emotions out, things like that, because that hour of time or however long your sessions are, that's very valuable, and you have to continue the work outside of that. That's
true. It's tough because like the streets don't. It took a while for this. Well, even today, the streets don't like therapy. They think it's whack. Think it's weak. A weak thing to do. The church side, they think it's
church. That part.
Yeah, the religious side, they think it's a waste of time. You should talk to your pastor.
Talk to God.
Yeah, talk to God. Talk to your pastor. Say your prayers and vitamins. So it's tough. We have a long road ahead, and then you have some that just do it just because it's trendy right now. Like it took me a long time to go to therapy and actually pay attention and actually say the truths and do it. Because my first few times I was like, all right, I'm just in here trying to save my relationship or whatever the case may be.
That part. Oh my gosh.
It took a little minute. Now I can appreciate it now for sure.
I was going to say, not everybody can afford therapy, and not everybody has health insurance.
That's real,
I would say that there are so many free communities and resources. Like, there's a community for everything. There's a little cult, I call it, for everything. So you just got to really reach out, and we are in the age of information.
Yes,
like, there are so many support groups and free groups and books and libraries. It's just really getting to know your soul and healing your inner child, having those tough conversations so that you can be able to look at yourself and go, hey, how did I even allow myself to get into this situation? What was missing in me so much that I clung to this boy for that many years? Why did I stay in that situation so much? Why? What do I need to do? You know what I'm saying? So that the next person don't come and knock me off my square. So, I definitely think if you can't find therapy, it's so many different. You just gotta want to, and you gotta just take a leap of faith.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, ladies. for sharing your stories. Passion. Tatiana, where can people find you at? And if they want to seek help or anything, where can they find it at?
Well, my Instagram, it's my personal Instagram, but it's Tatiana _Desiree_ on Instagram. And then it's just Tatiana Desiree Canyon on Facebook. And then I do private practice at a facility called Tuckerville.
Okay.
And that's in Wayne. So if you're ever in that area. And I also do provide virtual sessions, telehealth, if you don't want to physically go out to Wayne, as long as you're a Michigan resident, I can still service you. We accept all major forms of insurance. We do work with people who don't have insurance, and we treat them using a sliding scale based on income as well. So yeah, it's a great resource. I'm gonna give you my number if I can, if you want to reach out, and my email address. So my phone number is 313-355-4887. Email address is tcanyon@wihi.org. And you can reach out to me via text, via phone call, via email, via Instagram DMs, if you ever need any resources or help.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming down. I appreciate you. Tasha, where can people find you at?
So my name is weird, so you won't have a hard time finding it. It's Natasha, MALIKULMULK, and that will be on Instagram, on Facebook. You throw it in there, you'll be able to find that. That's Natasha, MALIKULMULK.
Okay, all right. Thank you for also sharing your story.
My pleasure.
I appreciate that very much.
Thank you for
So
coming.
brave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mae Henny.
Hey, y'all can find me on IG. It's MAEHENNY _. That's Mae Henny _. And on Facebook at Mae Henny HENNY.
I would like to toast to y'all. I would like to toast to getting everybody's situation together. Seek help. Talk to somebody. Mae gave you a lot of information. I love it. I appreciate you. Love you. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on all social medias under Shah Black, SHAHBLACQ under all social medias. Toast Afterdark Pod on all social medias and YouTube as we evolve in this YouTube space. Like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you. We appreciate you. Peace.
Bye.
Peace, love, and so no.